Hello and welcome to Members on the Mic with the Troy Chamber of Commerce, where we connect with Troy Chamber members as they give us a glimpse into their company and share some of the business lessons they've learned along the way. Hi everyone, I'm Tara Tomczyk-Husak, President and CEO of the Troy Chamber of Commerce, and I'm joined today by the lovely and amazing Vice President of the Chamber and co-host, Sheila Denstead.
Hello.
First, I'd like to take a moment to thank our presenting sponsor, Tryon Solutions. Stay tuned for our very first commercial break where you can learn how you can rely on Tryon. So Sheila, we have, I know I always say we have a really great guest coming, but these are ones we're actually really close and friends with. So why don't you do an introduction of who we are meeting with today?
Well, I would love to, but I realized as we started talking, I forgot to ask our speaker today. Todd, how do you say your last name? Is it Haight or Haight?
It is hate.
All right, I was right.
No one wants to say that.
I don't hate you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just so we're clear, there's no hatred.
Oh, there are a lot of jokes you can make.
All right.
Oh, and there will be.
That's right.
Don't you worry.
People say I am filled with hate,
Oh, oh,
but I say hate is love.
oh, oh.
All right. And back in.
Welcome home.
Back to Sheila.
This is how our podcasts go. It's great. Go.
Today we are meeting with Todd Haight. Todd has more than 30 years of award-winning experience in communications, marketing, and branding. A former print and radio reporter, he transitioned to healthcare marketing, working with some of the nation's premier health systems. His work has earned him 5 Emmy Awards. 5 Emmy Awards. I want to say that twice. And millions in revenue for his clients, but most importantly, improved the lives and health of real people in very real ways. Today, Todd is publisher of Troy City Lifestyle, a luxury community-focused magazine that connects local Troy residents with people, places, and things that make our city special. And he and his wife, Margaret, are pretty special to us.
We love her.
Welcome
Thank
here
you.
today.
Thank you. Thank you, Sheila. Appreciate that. And Tara, it's so good to be here. We really appreciate this opportunity. And it's a switch because I'm used to being the one who does the interview.
Mm-hmm.
I've interviewed thousands of people. I've never been interviewed. First time.
Really?
First time.
Aw, well, we won't hate you. No, I'm just kidding. So, Todd, you
Love it.
obviously have a really amazing career. So you've been working in this industry. You've earned 5 Emmys. I mean, you're pretty spectacular, to say the least. And
Just done a lot.
I mean, you've done a lot. I still think you're spectacular, but
Thank
you've done a lot. But transitioning into, starting a magazine is a whole different beast. Could you tell us a little bit about this journey? I guess the whys, how this came to play, and a little bit about it.
Sure. There is a story there. We're going to talk about storytelling later. So there is a story. I actually started as a reporter. When I was about 12 or 13, I discovered the daily newspaper. And for some reason, I just fell in love. And every day I would read this thing cover to cover, even the ads, the blonde ads, everything. And I decided to be a reporter. So when I was 15, there was an ad in the want ads in the weekly paper. They were looking for a reporter. So I had my mom drive me down to the paper because I couldn't drive and went in, asked for the editor and asked for the job. And she took one look at me and said no. So
You were dropped off.
yes. So no, my mom waited in the car to see what was going to happen. And I don't know why, but I argued with her. And I was not going to leave until I got a yes. And which is odd because I was very shy back then, but I wanted to do this. So finally I said, look, let's do this. Give me an assignment. If you don't like it, I'll go away. If you like it, you hire me. And she was like, oh, I can't say no to that. So gave me an assignment. She liked it, hired me, and I worked there through high school and through college. Ended up being assistant editor. Was there for 6 years. I also worked for the Daily, the Flint Journal, and then ended up doing some news also at the radio station. So I was kind of doing all 3 at the same time and just loving it. And I thought, this is it. I'm going to be a reporter and tell stories.
This is so ambitious before child labor laws.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and I had to work extra jobs because the newspapers didn't pay very much,
Yeah.
which is how I ended up in another job. And that was at a hospital doing marketing. Fell into that, which paid much, much more than a newspaper, and learning marketing, branding, and PR. And so I ended up working for hospitals for about 12, 13 years. And I was working in an inner city hospital in Detroit, loved that job so much, but the hospital went under and I ended up on my own and started my own agency. Did that for a lot of years, did some really, really fun things. And I was recruited by an agency in Detroit called Mort Krim Communications. You remember Mort Krim?
Oh, we do.
Channel
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep. So the longtime anchor, interesting story about Mort Krim. I don't know if you've heard this story, but Ron Burgundy, you've seen the movies?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Ron Burgundy was modeled after Mort Krim. Have you heard that story?
Did you know that?
No.
Yeah.
That is Mort Grimm.
Really?
That's who
in
he
film
studied.
form.
Mm-hmm.
Early in his career, he was an anchor in Philadelphia. Will Ferrell saw him there, just was captured by his deadpan delivery of news.
Mm-hmm.
And when he created the Ron Burgundy character, he modeled it right after Mort Grimm. Oh, yeah. So
Not all of it factual, but yes.
if you listen to the two of them side by side, you can hear it. It's amazing. So he added the mustache that Mort didn't have. So, but Mort's the ultimate storyteller.
Mm-hmm.
So I was recruited to be executive VP there, and to now tell stories on behalf of our clients was really amazing. And so I was there for 5 years, and we were kind of hit with a personal health crisis. Margaret, you know my wife, Margaret, you've met her.
We love her.
Love her.
And thank you. She is.
We like you. We love her more. Okay.
I hear that a lot.
I'm sorry. She's
No.
great. We do.
I can put her here. I can.
No, no,
Okay.
no, no.
She ended up with breast cancer. And so we have grown kids, but she adopted 2 children through foster care, and one of them has severe special needs. And so she's a caregiver full time. And it just was the time when she needed some caregiving. So I left my role as part owner there and took care of her and got her through the surgery and the radiation therapy. And when she was getting better, we suddenly looked at each other and said, uh-oh, what now?
Mm-hmm.
Do I go back to the agency world? Do I go back to healthcare marketing? What am I going to do? And I got a call out of the blue from a recruiter from this wonderful company in Kansas City called City Lifestyle Publications. They have magazines all around the country. Can I hold it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's our Troy City Lifestyle.
It's also the mayor's daughter.
And also the mayor's daughter, exactly, and the cover. We have other magazines in Birmingham, Grosse Pointe, West Bloomfield, Mount Clemens, but the Metro Detroit area was very open. So they offered me the opportunity to launch a magazine, and we target the luxury market. And I had my choice of any community I wanted other than the ones that we had.
Mm-hmm.
And so they threw out a whole bunch of different communities and not Troy. And I couldn't understand. And you got to do Royal Oak. You got to do. Well, I've worked at Beaumont Troy. My agency started in Troy. We have family in Troy. Our doctor's in Troy. We talked about it and just decided that if we were going to do a luxury lifestyle magazine, it needed to be in Troy.
We love that idea, obviously.
Yes.
Well, you talk about luxury. You have Somerset Collection.
Yeah.
So what are
We
some
do.
of the key elements that define a strong brand identity, especially in that luxury market?
Well, obviously, there are the standard answers of the foundations of marketing. There's reach, frequency, and messaging, right? You have to do those 3 things. What's your message? So, what do you stand for? What's your value proposition as a business? How are you presenting yourself to your customers, clients, your prospects? And you have to figure out what that is. And then, who are you trying to reach? Who's your audience, your target audience? And you want to make sure that you can define that as closely as possible. Age, gender, income levels, where do they live? Maybe not right even down to the neighborhoods. What are their buying habits? And how are you going to reach them and how often? You've probably heard the statistic that you have to reach people 7 to 12 times before they start to pay attention. That's an old stat. That's like 30 years old, before social media. So really, it's probably more like 30 to 40 times.
Wow.
Think about it. How many times do you see ads or hear ads and you ignore them, right? Over and over.
It becomes the fuzz in the back of your brain.
Exactly. Right. We don't want to, now we just turn it off. I don't want to hear it anymore. So you really have to keep pounding away and pounding away. You can't expect to run an ad or reach somebody with social media in 1 or 2 times and expect them to respond. So those 3 things are really, really key: reach, frequency, and messaging. Who you are and how you're going to reach them. But I like to add a 4th, and I call it mindset. Because I discovered when I started going out and introducing the magazine, and obviously there's Maserati and there's, Somerset Collection and Michigan Design Center. We know they're luxury. But I kept hearing from business owners, yeah, but I'm not luxury. And I'm thinking, well, why don't you think you're luxury? Well, I'm not a Gucci. I'm not a. So I think we have to redefine that and have a mindset of luxury. And so I tell people, what is your product and service? Are you giving people the best that you can give them? Are you giving them the best customer service that you can give them? Are you treating people with integrity? Well, I think that's luxury, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's mindset. If you do those things and people are excited about what you do and how you do it, I think you're luxury.
Well, and I think the branding that you have itself. So, like, obviously, we've known each other for quite some time at this point. I remember when this was all starting to get launched, which, gosh, that's crazy.
So do I.
But I remember the very first thing when you brought me a copy of what you were looking to do. I think the first words was luxury. And it was because the paper, like I feel like your attention to detail of not just the storytelling piece, but the fact that it feels different. It's not just somebody threw me a newspaper. It's something of high quality and caliber. And like you said, you brought up the research of understanding what people want to see, how they would embody what this is. And I think you've done a very good job with that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And people are surprised because there are a lot of magazines and there's a place for everyone out there. The first thing I did was meet publishers of C&G and other magazines. I wanted to meet them and say, let's work together. We're not competitors. We should be collaborators. Let's work together. So many businesses out here. We can all work together, and we do. But they're surprised when they see the magazine because of the paper stock and professional photography and professional writing, which a lot of the others do as well. But it's the paper stock really makes a big difference. The size of the magazine
differentiate
makes a big
completely.
Difference. We differentiate, yes. And the types of brands that we have, we're a branding magazine, right? So it's about branding. It's not about necessarily hard sales, direct sales. We don't carry coupons and things like that. There is a place for those. And it's important for those. But we're a branding magazine, so it has to feel a little different.
Well, I think something you said's resonating is that you're also empowering your advertisers to look at themselves differently. And they are luxury. And just because, like you said, they're not a Gucci or something like that, they are powerful. They are important. And that's a perception that has changed over the years.
Well, absolutely. It's the experience, right? Okay, so why does somebody go to get a Gucci bag? Is it because they like to carry it around and be seen? Yeah.
Sorry.
They have a cat line.
Sheila, why do you buy yours?
She likes purses, though. She does.
Oh, good. No, now we know. After the show, we'll.
No.
It's not just to carry it on to be seen. It's the experience, right? Why do people buy a Bentley? Or it's not just because it's a status thing. It's because of the experience that car gives them. Not just riding it, but buying it. Give it as an experience, right? The experience of buying something. So give people an experience. If you have a business, I don't care what you do, give them a luxury experience and let them know that you care about them. You can have a luxury experience buying a cup of coffee. If you're that business owner, you can create that experience for your customers. It's not hard.
I love it. Well, guys, I think
it doesn't cost money either, right?
Well, and you're right. Customer service, that is not a expensive fee. It's something you have to maintain and continue.
Right.
But it's that quality that you're giving to someone. So, well, guys, as we're talking through this, I think it's a good time to take a quick break and hear a word from our presenting sponsor, Tryon Solutions. We'll be right back.
I'm Joe Vicari, President and CEO of the Joe Vicari Restaurant Group, which encompasses 24 restaurants throughout the country. With the addition of Tryon, our general managers don't have to spend hours doing paperwork and putting people in our system. All that's done by Tryon now, so they can work on what they are there to do, take care of our customers. That's why we rely on Tryon.
You can always rely on Tryon.
Welcome back to Members on the Mic with the Troy Chamber of Commerce. We are here with Todd with Troy City Lifestyle. So we understand the power of branding. We know the impact that it makes. But I think one of the bigger things I'd like to discuss is, let's talk about storytelling. How do we do a great story? How do we pitch that? How do we get that story out there?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting because a lot of businesses do make the mistake of talking about facts and figures, right? Earlier in my career, I worked at a local health system, and we were creating an ad campaign, and we were talking about how many doctors we had. And it didn't take long for us to realize that if we put an ad out about how many doctors we had, somebody else was going to put an ad out saying we have more, right? Nobody cares how many doctors you have or how many employees you have or if you've been in business for 50 years. It's nice to be proud of those things. That's okay. Celebrate your 75th year. But people really aren't going to make a decision based on that. Those are facts and figures. People make a decision on emotion. So you want to reach them at an emotional level, and stories do that. So stories will be remembered much longer and much more effectively than any facts and figures. So I learned that early on. One of my first jobs was a hospital in Lansing called Ingham Medical Center, and my director came in and dropped down a stack of Christian Science Monitor magazines or newsletters or newspapers. It's an internet. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
You know what it is? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'd never seen it before, and it's not just known for news, but they're known for their storytelling. People who are changing the business culture or communities or government, and they go really in depth, and suddenly you really care about this person, about what they're doing. And it's like a light switch flipped for me because I had spent all my time in my career learning how to write, and I'd never thought about why I should write. And suddenly I'm realizing I'm impacted by these stories of these people. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Because if you write great stories about people, you can change hearts, you can change minds, you can change perspectives, you can move people, you can move them to action, you can move them to talk about you. So writing stories, that's how you change hearts and lives. That's how you get people to care about who you are. And advertising is really tough because you're trying to create a relationship. How do you do that with a digital ad or a social media post or any kind of ad, really? You have to tell a story. So it really changed my whole career. So I ended up, I was, after that point, going into like impoverished areas and meeting with families, having meals with them and writing stories about their lives so other people could learn from that. I met with people with cancer and Parkinson's and heart disease and who were in the throes of treatment and didn't know if they're even going to live or what their life was going to be, and telling those stories. I went with a team. We spent a couple of weeks on a riverboat down the Amazon River.
Get out.
Yes. What? It launched from Iquitos, Peru, which is one of the poorest cities, going to all these villages with people who lived in floating houses. Their houses floated on the Amazon. So, and no walls. They had a floor and they had a roof. And they had 4 poles that held it up. When the Amazon was down, the roof, they would stay. When the Amazon came up, they floated. These people had nothing. And we're going to see them, we're videotaping them and telling their stories. And when you come off the boat, they're excited and they have joy. And I'm like, I don't understand this. You have nothing, but you're so filled with joy. Those are things we can learn from. I love telling those kinds of stories. That's how you move people.
Well, and I think the educational piece of it too is that those are the stories where we're going to learn.
Right.
We can always have a view of how something is or how something was, but when someone shares it from their perspective, it really opens up a new world for you.
It does. And anyone can do that. You don't have to be a professional writer to do that, right? If you own a business, you have a story. So don't talk about, you have to talk about what you do, but talk about how you started the business and what you've overcome to be where you are. Your employees have stories. Tell those. Your clients and customers have stories. Let them even tell the story themselves. You know, people, if they love what you do, they're going to tell the story. Encourage that. Take video and create reels. There's all kinds of things that you can do, but use storytelling in your marketing. Make that part of what you do. It's about people connecting with people or with cats because, we have this little...
By the way, everyone, that is my cover model daughter, Princess Nomi. My cat was the cover model. I'm just saying.
Yes, she was.
It was the best moment of her mommy's life. Was in that moment. I'm just saying.
It was.
She
awesome.
Was perfect.
She
for
was.
the cover.
Oh,
okay, sorry.
No, that's great. It was our Pets and Kids issue, and we talked about your nonprofit, the Feline Fund, right? And so, for example, we talked about the fund and what it does. But there were stories in there, and you told us a story of a family that had immigrated to Detroit recently, and they had a young daughter, and she hadn't made friends, and there was a language barrier, but she had this cat that was really, really important to her for her emotional, well-being and support. But the cat had a lot of issues, medical issues, took a lot of money to vet care and other things, and your nonprofit helped take care of those costs. And you made a comment, said this little girl can keep her best friends, her best friend. That's emotional, right? Now it's not just, we help homeless and feral cats, and now you're actually helping little girls keep their cats. Mm-hmm. That's an emotional appeal. People
and thanks for making me cry in a podcast, Todd. I appreciate that.
You are welcome.
No, but again, you're correct. It's not, we can always be proud of some of the work that we do, but it's those moments that really define how we're going to move forward as well. Because some of those stories will not only bring people, like I say it from a company recruitment standpoint. A company is telling how, like, some amazing stories about what they do, how they impact the world. That draws people to you. You want to be a part of that because there's a bigger picture for how you can make things move forward.
Right. It's a shared experience. Mm-hmm. You shared that experience. Now I feel that experience. Right?
Now you love cats?
Right.
No, I'm just kidding. Just teasing.
So,
I think people today are looking for genuineness.
Yeah.
I think we're in a time and age where they want to know that that's the real you, and that's the best way to do it through storytelling like that.
Right. And it's memorable. People remember it more than they're going to remember that you're 50 years old. Your business is celebrating some anniversary.
Sheila.
Why'd you point at me at that?
I love it.
So, Todd, you're in an industry that many people say print's dead. We've heard it. We've been hearing it for years now. that everything's gone digital. Digital marketing is the way to go, blah, 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 blah. What do businesses need to know about digital marketing in order to help them grow if print is dead?
Well, let me ask you, how many people do you think still read magazines? What percentage would you say?
I would hope at least 25 to 30% because I know I do.
I'm old school. I totally read magazines. So
You might be surprised to learn that 87% of people still read magazines on a
my
regular
God,
basis. That is new research.
Yay!
It's brand new research.
Love it.
73% of people say it's more enjoyable to pick up the magazine and flip through it and read it than it is on a tablet or on a phone.
I'm not. I
Absolutely.
can't even do the book thing on the.
Right.
What are
No.
those Kindles? Can't
Yeah,
do
I
that.
can't either.
I need
Gotta
paper.
touch and
I need
feel.
paper. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, people still do. And we're talking about all generations that still read. So it's not dead. It needs to be part of your marketing mix. But there is a place for social and digital. You should be doing all of it. You should have a very strong, we call a marketing mix. So you should be doing digital and social media and print and events and networking and all of those things that fit into your marketing mix. You should be doing all. If you're a business owner, and some people say, oh, I don't have the money for that. Well, there are things you can do that don't cost money. You can be creative, but you should be budgeting, right? So some studies say you should budget 4 or 5% of your revenue for marketing. Some say 25%. But budget something and use it in multiple areas. So don't put everything in radio ads. Don't put everything in print.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket kind of
Exactly, right.
style.
So you need to reach people because people consume in different ways, consume media in different ways. So you want to be doing all that. And there is digital fatigue, right? We are kind of getting tired of seeing, we were talking a week or two ago about buying something, shoes or something. And then one of us went on Facebook and it popped shoe ads.
Yes.
Always.
Always. It's
I feel
listening.
like it's listening.
Yes. So we're tired of that, right? So if you're doing just social or just digital, people are tired. They're turning that off. So, mix it up.
So I guess that you brought up networking. So as you're talking about networking, we talk about building relationships and partnerships and getting out there and collaborating. What advice would you give to entrepreneurs who are trying to develop and build those relationships?
Well, storytelling is building relationships. So all of that, you're building an emotional connection with an audience. You're building relationships. But you need to build relationships in many different ways. The first thing that we did when we launched the magazine, before we were even launched, we were in pre-launch. The first thing we did was join the Detroit Chamber of Commerce. We'd heard so many great things about them, but even if we hadn't, we still would have joined because we wanted to meet people face-to-face. So face-to-face marketing is really, really key. Get out there and meet people. Join the Chamber. There are other networking groups too. I'm part of 3 or 4, but the Detroit Chamber is the place to be. And I really don't say that lightly.
He's like,
No, I really don't
want
say
me
that
to cry
lightly.
again? Thanks,
That's right.
buddy. No, just kidding.
It wasn't in my required notes here. Make sure you mention. No, it was key for us to make relationships. People were referring business or just making connections for us. We found that the members of the Detroit Chamber, and I've been a member of many chambers,
Yeah.
more than most, really want to help you. So they're really invested in other people as much as themselves. So get connected, go to the meetings, meet people, refer business as much as you want referrals, and build those relationships, build your community. And there's lots of ways to do it, but the Detroit Chamber, I think, is a great way. But that face-to-face has got to be there.
It's so important because, and Sheila and I both always have the same discussion of our main goal is to make sure our members are communicating with each other. So you look for the wallflowers, you look for the ones who aren't engaging. And Sheila's the first one to run up and be like, hey, come here, let's go talk. But it is important because everyone has different levels of comfort. You said in the very beginning that you were a little more shy. I don't see that anymore. I'm sure that still exists in you, but it does take effort.
Yeah, I had to overcome it. When I wanted to be a reporter, I realized, oh, wait, I don't like talking to people. I'm going to do this. And there was no Zoom back then. So I just had to, I wanted to do what I wanted to do and had to overcome it. So if you're shy, we have a advertising partner who said to me, I don't know what networking is. I went to a thing and people were having wine and drinks and talking. Is that networking? And she honestly had never done this. She was very, very shy.
Yeah.
So, she said, can you teach me how? And people at the Chamber will do that. Not just me, people will do that.
But you help too. So.
Well, yeah. Well, we want to help one another.
Yeah.
I've seen people come to Chamber meetings, Detroit Chamber meetings, and get business at the first time that they were there because they went out and talked to somebody. It's phenomenal to see. So, but if you are afraid, if you are shy, someone is a member has to go along. Ask them to invite, to make introductions and.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
Great thing
absolutely.
to say.
Tag team.
Yeah.
Todd, as you know, you can tell, we have been so excited to have you here today. If you could leave our listeners and our viewers with one nugget of something they can take with them today to use right away, what would that be?
Oh, gosh, there are so many. Remember that people buy on an emotional level. So if you have a business and you are trying to build your business and try to build your prospects and get your customers retention, get your customers to keep coming back, connect with them on an emotional level. What does that mean? Get to know them, talk to them, find out what they like and what they need, solve their problems, and then keep in contact with them. But don't try to sell people on facts and figures because it just won't get them, but tell stories that will connect with them emotionally. Ask their story. What is their story? Why do they talk? Where are they talking with you? Why do they reach out to you? So connect with them emotionally.
I love it. All right. Well, Todd, thank you so much for joining us on behalf of myself and Princess Nomi. Oh, yeah, my daughter.
See, I didn't roll my eyes. Did you notice?
That's right, I noticed.
tried.
Every time.
She does every time, but you know. But Todd, thank you so much. We obviously love working with you and Troy City Lifestyle. So thank you so much for joining us today and sharing some of your insight.
Thank you both. And thank you both for being so amazing. You're such a fantastic tool for new businesses in the area, for entrepreneurs, and even if old businesses. Come to the Troy Chamber and come to the meetings and meet these wonderful ladies.
I feel like I don't even have to do my closer now. I feel like he closed it for me. Well, and that's all we have today here on Members on the Mic with the Troy Chamber of Commerce. Special thanks to our presenting sponsor, Tryon Solutions. For information on joining the Chamber or for upcoming events, go to troychamber.com. Thanks, everyone, and have a great rest of your day. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.